What's up, Irish fans? Anthony Romo here with the head football coach of the Ursuline Fighting Irish, Dan Reardon. Week 11 here from the Golden Dawn. Coach, regular season flew by. It's now playoff time. Makes you a little bit more antsy, doesn't it?
Yeah, just everything. And there's a higher sense of urgency with everything. Because any single mistake can mean that you're turning your equipment in next Monday. So, so far it's early in the week, but so far we've had a good week of preparation, and kids are appear to be dialed in, and a couple more days practice and we'll play the game.
So let's start with going back to last week real quick. The Holy War, fourth straight win over Mooney. That's one of those rivalries where every year you kind of throw the records out the window because both teams just there's more intensity to the game,
Yep.
and it was a great game. 13-7 victory. You guys jumped out early, but got to give Mooney credit. They did a good job neutralizing the
Mhm.
offense for what they could, keeping you guys out of the end zone. But the defense really stepped up. Luke Kolar,
Yep.
two interceptions. Casey Luger's second straight game with a turnover, got an interception to
Yep.
kind of seal it at the end. Just talk about with what made you happy about the defensive performance.
Yeah, I thought our D line played really, really well, and their quarterback's good, and
Yeah.
we spoke about that last week. Ashton is a really good football player. Has the ability to make plays with his feet, keep plays alive, and really good scrambling ability. And then he throws nice football. But I thought our D line, for the most part, did a really good job containing them. We had, I think, 4 or 5 sacks, and a couple more were close, and he was able to get rid of the football. So they played really well, and we were able to get pressure on them. We were able to neutralize their run game for the most part, and anytime you can hold someone to 7 points in a rivalry situation, your defense is playing well. So I was pleased with that. Um, you didn't play great on special teams, and we gave up a block punt, first block punt in a long, long time, years, and so that's disappointing. Gave up a kick return. Their kid's a really dynamic kick returner. He's had a number of good returns this year. We knew he was capable, but we need to do better there. But all in all, then on the flip side, we hit 2 field goals, which
That was huge.
it's rare in a high school football game to make 2 field goals. You just don't see it very often. So James McClone did a great job there. Offensively, we had a lot of yards, but we got in scoring position a number of times, but didn't come away with enough touchdowns. And then we had the fourth and goal, jump off sides, and we settled for a field goal, so that was disappointing. But at the end of the day, it's hard to beat a great football program 4 years in a row, and they are, and we did, and we're pleased about that.
Yeah, and something I want to touch on real quick is James McGlone.
Yep.
He was perfect in the regular season on his field goals. Knock on wood
Yep.
that I didn't just jinx him. 6 of 6 with his field goals in the regular season. How much better does that make you feel as a coach when you have that confidence in the kicker that he can go out and you have he has a good opportunity to make it?
Yeah, so James has made some big kicks over the course of his career. A year ago, he made a big field goal when we played Warren Harding, ended up being the difference in the ball game. Um, yeah, as you said, he's 6 for 6 on the year. This year, um, the 2 kicks ended up being the difference in the ball game against Cardinal Mooney. So, um, just he's getting more and more confidence, and it was great to get him to come out last year. He had played soccer previously, decided to come out for football, and having him back for a second year, and just confidence with reps, and he's been through a lot of big games and big situations, so it's great to have that.
And then one more guy I want to talk about that I think really stuck out for this defense during the regular season was Tyreek Donlow.
Yeah,
So as in his sophomore season, he was huge on the stats.
yeah,
I mean, he was a game wrecker, you could call him. And then this season, he comes in and he improves so much, I think, from last season. Of course, the experience helps, but again, defensively, he was just off the charts. And especially that Mooney game, you talk about getting pressure. I mean, he couldn't get blocked in that game. He was in the backfield all the time. Just talk about what he means to this
yeah. And
team.
I'll tell you that the last 2 plays when they were driving, we had a timeout at one point, and had a chance to get those guys together, and you could just tell he was going to make a play. And on third down, he made a play. On fourth down, he practically had a sack, but he forced an interception to Casey Luger's instead. And he's just one of those guys. I mean, if you go back to the Farrell game when the game's on the line, he's getting pressure and making a play, and you just know he's going to come up big in big situations, and he's getting better and better. I mean, as you mentioned, he was a really good football player for us last year as a sophomore. He's an all-state performer. He's that much better this year, and hopefully we can keep this going for as long as we can, and he can keep adding to those stats because he's having a special season.
And we talk about a lot during these coaches' corners. The strength of schedule here at Ursuline
Yeah,
is one of the best in the valley each year. And then looking back at it now, 8 of the 10 teams that you guys played this year are in the playoffs, and PA is still in the regular season, but Farrell's going to make the playoffs.
yep.
You guys handed them their only loss on the season. Just talk a little bit more about how much those games like that in the regular season help prepare you for the playoffs.
Yeah, if you look at the middle part of our season in particular, it was really a grind. We had Fitch and Harding and
St.
St.
V's.
Joe's and St. V's, and yeah, Cheney was in there, and we start with Brookfield, who's 9-1. We had Farrell early on, who's 8-1 right now, as you mentioned, and some really good football teams, and a couple of them we were able to give them their only loss, and then a couple other ones. Yeah, we took a couple bumps and bruises in there also, but I don't know that we're going to see a whole lot of teams better than something that we've seen already. There may be one or two if we're fortunate enough to keep playing, but that's not guaranteeing anything by any stretch. But we've seen a lot of really good football teams, and a couple of them we may see again in the playoffs. And if there's a bunch of teams better than the guys we played, I'd be surprised.
Yeah, so now let's look forward to this week. You guys will be hosting the Hawken Hawks at 7 o'clock at Stambaugh
Yep.
Stadium on Friday. You guys are the 3 seed, they're the 14. It's kind of funny because going into Saturday, it looked like you guys are going to play New Philadelphia because you were slated as the 2 seed. But with West Branch beating
Yep.
Salem, Canfield was able to get secondary points. So you guys flip-flopped.
Yep.
So you're facing the Hawken Hawks. It's a team that, from what I've seen, has a pretty balanced offense. Quarterback, 16 touchdowns on the year. Running back can kind of do it all purpose yards. He's close to 2,000, 24 touchdowns on the ground, 6 through the air. What have you seen so far that you think could pose a threat from this team this week?
Yeah, I think they do a really good job with their scheme, and they do a lot. They really challenge you formationally. Um, so they're very well coached from that standpoint. They have a number of weapons. The running back is their biggest playmaker, jersey number 1, and he can catch the ball in the backfield. They can line him up at receiver. He obviously can run the ball, but he does a lot of different things, and he's definitely their go-to guy. Quarterback, it seems to be very, very efficient in the film that we have, and just he makes good decisions. And teams that have win 8 games in the regular season, they're going to have a quarterback who makes good decisions. And I'm probably going to be saying that for as long as we're still playing. You usually have a playmaker at the running back and or a receiver, and you have a good solid quarterback, and they're no different.
And then I pretty much know what your answer is going to be because I know how you coach, and you guys will go play anyone anywhere. But do you think that this team has kind of more of an advantage than the other teams that get to host 2 playoff games, with your home stadium being a college stadium, and it's kind of a bigger place and atmosphere for kids to play in than normal?
So that's a good point. I never really thought about that very much, but yeah, I would say that there probably is something to that. Depending on who we play and if they're playing in, I don't know where all Hawken has played this week, and if we're fortunate enough to win, whoever we play next week, if they played in a big stadium. But Stambaugh Stadium can be, it's a big, imposing environment, and for someone who's never had a chance to play at Infocision or Stambaugh or any other number of college stadiums, it definitely can there's that wow factor that definitely could be an emotional advantage.
And you guys have kind of opened up the playbook so much this season with the ability to have Jack Erickson and DC Farrell playing quarterback, and you guys have shown a lot this year that you've shown a lot of different formations with the two. One's at wideout, one's at quarterback, etc.
Yep.
Going into the playoffs, what do you think? What is your game plan going into this week, I should say? What are you guys trying to attack going into Friday
Yeah,
night?
so we always try to be multiple. some ways we're more multiple than we were a year ago. In other ways, we're not as multiple. So, from a passing perspective, we're not as multiple as we were a year ago. And we had different weapons and a different quarterback, and we played to their strengths. And we always evolve from year to year based on the strengths of who we have. But, I think John DeSantis calls our offense, and I think he's done a really good job of moving guys around. And DC obviously is a wild card. He can play running back, quarterback, receiver, move them around, and he can create advantages, in a number of different ways. The other thing that some people might not think about, but he also could serve as a really good decoy when you're trying to do something else. So, depending on Mooney, particularly after the first couple of drives, they did a really good job of really knowing where he was, and sometimes you have to use that to your advantage and go to someone else. So, I think JD does a really good job formationally, moving those guys around, and there's a bunch of other guys who can make a play. Jack had a really nice touchdown run, and all of a sudden everybody's worried about DC running the ball, and Jack hits a 19-yard touchdown run, and it's a huge play in the game. Christian, obviously, we've talked about him a number of times this year, Mark and Will, and the other receivers, and we're better when more guys are making plays, and when we're able to all 4, 5, 6, 7 guys who have the ability to make a play, make a catch, but do something with the ball after they get it in their hands. We're going to be a better football team. If it's a one-man show, we're not as good because the defense can key on that one guy.
All right, Coach. Well, thanks for joining us. Good luck this Friday night, and hopefully a few weeks from now we're going to have to make some space up on these walls to put some more Irish memorabilia up there. Irish fans, if you're not able to make it this Friday at Stambaugh Stadium, the game will be played here at the Golden Dawn, 7 o'clock, Ursuline against Hawken. Coach, thanks for joining us. Good luck this week.
Yeah, appreciate it. Thanks.